He's a Hall of Famer, folks. And usually when I say Hall of Fame, I'm talking about players. In this case, he's a Hall of Fame NBA journalist. You oftentimes see him on ESPN. You might be reading his stuff on ESPN or Andscape. I'm talking about Marc Spears of ESPN, the Hall of Famer. He's going to join me next. We're going to talk a little Warriors. We're going to talk a lot about what he's been up to in his career. Should be a good time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy some excellent insights from a Hall of Fame NBA journalist, Marc Spears, here on the Golden Daze.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Woo! Let's go! In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. Cause I get what I want and I like what I see.
Oh, that's a big name, ladies and gentlemen. Hey there. Hall of Famer. ESPN present program. Here we go. Thank you for joining the Golden Daze. I am your host, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild. I'm over on Twitter at Surf Journalist. The program is on all social media platforms at Golden Daze Pod. Today's episode, before we get to Marc Spears, who's going to join us in just a moment, is brought to you by Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA. You can bet on so much stuff. Head to Bet Online today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. It isn't every day that I am graced on this program with the presence of a Hall of Famer who isn't a Hall of Famer because he's a player, because he was a journalist. Marc Spears of ESPN. Marc, it's been a long time since we've actually seen each other. I think it's been like almost 2 years, but great to see you virtually. How are you doing? And your immediate reaction, now granted, we're recording this before the Warriors play the Cavaliers, but nonetheless, amazing start to the season. Your reaction to that, and just how have you been, man? Great to see you.
Yeah, no, man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I'm good. Took a walk on the beach today. It was nice, so I'm certainly blessed. I think the Warriors are blessed too.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And regardless to what happens in Cleveland, to have one in Boston was huge. You know, I certainly expect them to compete with Cleveland, although size that Cleveland has, I think, is needs to be paid attention to. They size does matter, and they're getting more mature. They're healthy. Well, you know, obviously there's a long way to go, but in terms of the Warriors, I'm pleasantly surprised for them. I wouldn't have expected this. I thought they would be more of a 500 team. It's early, but for them to start 7-1 is absolutely incredible. To be tied for first 2 weeks in is absolutely incredible. It does show strength in numbers. It does show the importance of not wasting a roster spot. And, you know, the fact that they were able to sustain a win with Steph out, stunning to me. Other guys were out as well. So kudos to Steve Kerr and his staff. You know, I know Jerry Stackhouse seems to be doing a great job defensively for getting this team to off to an amazing start.
Absolutely. And let's start there, if you don't mind. The Jerry Stackhouse piece of this and Terry Stotts, to me, is understated. I thought that was the biggest part of their offseason. What are you seeing with the impact of these assistant coaches?
Well, Terry Stotts I've known for a long time. I have super respect for. He's an amazing guy and should be a head coach in this league. You know, had odd circumstances last year, but certainly a proven head coach. Potentially could use this as a leap board back into that spot if the Warriors have a great season. But no, I mean, Terry's one of the best people I've met covering this league, one of the coolest coaches. And Stack, obviously things are challenging at Vanderbilt as a LSU guy. I know how crazy the SEC is. So it's going to be tough at that school to challenge these other teams in the conference with so much money, more money to play with. Vanderbilt academics is first, as it should be. So, there's only so much runway you're going to get there because they still expect you to win, even though your budget's probably not the same as Kentucky or LSU, right? So to add those two coaches and, Stack's a former player, played on a high level, all-star level, somebody that immediately comes in and demands respect. And, I know Steve, every once in a while, every couple of years, he hopes for his assistants to get bigger opportunities, like Mike Brown, like Willie Green, right? I think he also likes to change it up too, because, and I learned this from Joe Mazzulla, like you have to have assistant coaches that challenge you. Joe Mazzulla said he wants all his assistant coaches to be smarter in their respective field that they're emphasizing on than him. And then I think with Steve, he wants somebody that's going to teach him something new. Like he's always continued to evolve as a coach, get new ideas and get smarter. Do you make your restaurant better if you're just still, using the same recipes all the time while the industry is changing? And Steve wants to be on the cutting edge of knowledge, on the cutting edge of getting better as a coach. I think he learned that probably from, Popovich. I didn't see, his old coach with the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson, doing that.
Yeah.
Much. He stayed by his assistant coaches, who are great assistant coaches. But if you look at Popovich, he's always had a rotating group of coaches who, they've gone on to bigger and better things. His tree is amazing. His coaching tree is amazing. But he always, even bringing in a coach from Europe and Ettore Messina, he just always getting new ideas, younger ideas, ideas from different countries, and I think Steve probably adopted that from Pop.
That's, to me, is a sign of a great leader. And I know I've been critical of Steve Kerr at times, but I give him his absolute due for trying to make himself better by surrounding himself with people with different perspectives, with maybe new ideas, like you mentioned. I know Kerr himself alluded to Kenny Atkinson kind of opening his eyes to the statistical side of things, right? And applying analysis to your coaching. So if that's Steve's mantra, is to follow Popovich,
keep getting better, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and you brought up Willie Green, who I think is one of the best coaches in the NBA, even though the Pelicans are having a rough start to the season, but injuries can be blamed for a lot of that. Mark, dude, let's take a step back from talking about the NBA, because it's ever evolving, and this interview could date itself in 2 seconds because of that. I want to talk about your experience as a Hall of Famer, dude. I mean, it's one thing to get in as an athlete. It's a whole other beast to get in as a journalist. Describe what it was like to put on that, I don't know if you call that an orange or a yellow coat, whatever the color is. Describe what it was like to put that coat on.
Hold on, let me grab something for you since you're
asking.
No, I didn't get a coat. They save those for the players, bro.
Okay.
I didn't get a coat. I didn't get that.
You're funny, dude. I really thought you were good. So what, do they give you
look, I got a sweater. They gave me this, last time I was there, but no, I got
Do you get anything physical, like, or is it just the name? Oh, the ring. Oh, beautiful. Okay. And you're wearing that 24/7. Bravo. How did it feel, dude? Like what is the feeling like to be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
It's super surreal. I still don't know if I'll ever be able to understand the magnitude of it. I was in the Hall of Fame a month ago, and now they changed it to it's a much more digital and interactive space, and it's really cool. Like, I was trying to before my name was just on a list, which is enough. They could put my name in the bathroom. I'm still in there, right?
Right.
But now, if you go into the Hall of Fame for all the Kurt Gowdy winners, which I was for print media in 23, which is a cool year, 23, right? They have a digital board. And so you could punch my name in, please, if you go to Hall of Fame, give me some clicks. You could click on my name, and the story that was written in the program comes up next to my picture. So you could like read, background of my career and stuff like that from the story that was, certainly in the program. But to be in that room with so many amazing journalists, to hear, like, it never gets old when somebody says, "What's up, Hall of Famer?" Like, I don't get tired of it, man. It means so much to me. And my mom got to be a part of the ceremony, being there and seeing it. And my father passed in January.
I'm sorry, man.
A long battle with ALS, but he was able to watch it. And that same ring, I was able to, bring it to him and put it on his hand and say, "Dad, we made it." So for any kid from the Bay, from any kid anywhere, like, you got to realize, like, there's so many careers in sports, even when you can't play anymore, or if you're not good enough to play. I played high school basketball in San Jose at Andrew Hill High School and did quite well. I had a up and down college basketball career, which is a story over a bottle of Kendall Jackson wine, or maybe a case.
Plug that. That's your company, right?
Yeah.
How can people find that wine real fast? Kendall Jackson. How can people?
Oh man, it's Kendall Jackson wine. I'm actually crazy as it sounds. I'm a ambassador for Kendall Jackson wine. Kendall Jackson signed a deal with the NBA, WNBA, and USA Basketball, and they brought me on to bridge the gap between the company and the wine. And Kendall Jackson owns over 30 wineries across the world. They have them not only just in Sonoma County and Napa County, but in Santa Barbara, Portland, Oregon, South Africa, Australia, France. I went to the one in Bordeaux, England. Got a new champagne. Like, so they got a bottle that you could buy in the grocery store for $15, and then there's one that might hit you. Might be a 1,000. There's something for everybody. I mean, but the Chardonnay is certainly a hit for Thanksgiving if you want to get that. Right, that's the popular one. Kendall Jackson Select. But I'm partial to Cardinal and LaCoya and Free Mark Abbey and Verite for the Hartford family. I mean, I'm partial to a lot of them. Those are some of the elite ones I like. But think about it come holiday season. I know I made this sound like a commercial, but it's all right. If you're in the Bay, man, just go and check out all these fabulous wines that they have. But going back to the Hall of Fame, I got to show my dad the ring and put it on his finger, and every time I put it on, I could know that my dad had that ring on too, before he passed. And so that whole Hall of Fame journey just means a lot to me. And it's cool now because I'll tell you this story. So I go to the Hall of Fame, and there's a private room before the Friday night Gowdy Awards ceremony and all that, and all the Hall of Famers past and present are in there. And for family members, they give them a ticket so they could go in there. And so I didn't have a ticket, and so I walk up to go into the room, and this lady says, "Hey, you don't have the ticket to go in there." I said, "But I'm a Hall of Famer." And the guy said, "Well, you got to let him in. He's in the Hall." So they let me in the back room, man. I'm back there with Artist Gilmore and Black Jesus was back there. And I'm trying to think of all the guys that are, saw Vince Carter, saw the guys that are about to go in, and Jay Adonde was a journalist, one of the journalists that got in this year.
Right.
Just saw a whole bunch of people, man. Jamal Wilkes, and I could kind of go on and on and on. of some of the folks that was there, but it was like, saw Norm Nixon back there and Michael Cooper and Byron Scott, but I was, I got to walk. I didn't want to pull my card. I didn't want to pull my card, but I had to.
The fact you got a card is
yeah. So that was kind of cool to be able to, like, hey, I had forgot to wear my ring, so next time I'm just gonna be like,
Mark, that's awesome,
But going back to the point I'll make for kids, like when you go into these arenas, when you go into these football stadiums, soccer stadiums, baseball, whatever, like looking at all the jobs they have. Like somebody has to turn on the lights, somebody has to work the scoreboard, make sure it works, somebody has to do security, somebody has to maintain the field, maintain the court, somebody has to do PR, somebody has to make sure all the food is there, somebody has to make sure that VIP has a high level experience. Like there's just, there's cops that get to go to all the games because security is important. So it's like you could be a part of the team or be a part of the experience for your occupation. Like I tell, people all the time, I write about basketball for a living, man. And I don't take that for granted any day. Like I'm good with what I do. I could write, I'm not shy in that. And I've been blessed with amazing access to players. But in essence, I write about basketball for a living, and I go to games that people pay a lot of money to go to.
Well, you also talk about it. I mean, people see you on TV pretty regularly. Like you're on the panel for the NBA on ESPN and the Daily Show they have. I almost wonder if people are you more synonymous now with TV, or is writing still what people think of you as the most?
I think beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? Obviously,
right.
TV is the visual platform that is probably the sexiest. But I still have people from the days I covered the Denver Nuggets, days that I covered the Denver Nuggets, come up to me and say, "Man, I miss your stories in the Denver Post," or people that follow me, like they come up like, "Man, I've been reading you since you were at the Boston Globe," and so like that, those kind of things like mean a lot to me. Like when somebody comes up to me, it is important for me to take a moment, thank them, acknowledge their interest in my work. Like I don't take that for granted. And I probably met 1,000 people who, like, if they take the time to say hello, like I respect that, because probably 9 out of 10 people don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for somebody to come and say hi and say, "Hey man, I really enjoy your work," I try to at least stop them and acknowledge them and thank them and ask them their name, because that's important to me to acknowledge that, because they don't have to follow my work or read my work or, care about my work but locally in the Bay, like I'm on KNBR.
Yeah.
I was I'm doing a diary on Paolo Banchero this season. Somebody in Orlando who deals with their beverages and stuff called me Marc Spears from Kendall Jackson, which certainly tickled me, man. So it's like, but or I get, "Man, ain't you that guy?" More off half the time. "Man, ain't you Marcus? You're Marcus." Or, "No, I'm not Marcus. I'm not Marcus Spears. I'm not Mark Stein. I'm not Marcus Thompson. I'm not, Monty Poole." But hey, man, I appreciate you saying hello.
Oh no.
I'm not Kendra Andrews, like I haven't got that one yet. But I've gotten all the other ones I just mentioned.
No, people follow you on social media. Your handle, I believe, is the same across the board at Marc J. Spears.
Yes,
and on your Instagram, I follow you on all the platforms, but on your Instagram, you were posting some of your travels over the summer, which was, I believe, was part of Kendall Jackson, where you were wine tasting and enjoying some of the perks of your job as the ambassador. And again, check out Kendall Jackson. I live in Sonoma County, so their winery is based, I believe, in Santa Rosa. They're big here. Marc, I went through a similar experience you did. My former father-in-law was diagnosed with ALS, and I was there from the beginning to the end. It's one of the worst experiences imaginable. It's one of the worst diseases imaginable. And I'm just really sorry that you went through that. Most people, I don't think, are aware of just the how debilitating this thing is, and how
Yeah.
much strain and stress it puts a family through to try to support someone going. It sucks, man. I just wanted to,
My dad is Curtis Spears. He's in a better place, man, and he certainly had an amazing impact on my lives and a lot of other lives. And I know what people mean when they say, someone's in a better place. So
yeah,
I don't wish
yeah.
what he went through on anybody. And
It's a nightmare, dude.
if you could give money to the Steve Gleason Foundation, or my guy, the head coach of the Utah Jazz, has a great foundation. Will Hardy, ALS West, is doing great things. Like, when you're trying to get that tax break at the end of the year, or that, that tax credit, I often say, like, giving to the, charitable organizations is a win for them, a win for you.
It is.
And, hey, man, go after some of their auctions and get some cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I think is always a good thing, is like, keep up, like, the foundations you like, look at their, like, silent auctions, and next thing you know, you offer some good money to them, and you're in Mexico for 7 days on vacation because you got the winning bid.
Well, and I think, Marc, a huge appeal of yours is your humility. Like you said, man, you take time out for anyone who stops and says, "Hey, I read your work or I watch your work," and you've always been like, I don't sense ego from you from all our interactions. You're a good dude, and the reason why I bring all this up is because you're also very giving. You're very altruistic when it comes to the work you do. I believe with the NABJ is one of the organizations you're heavily involved with. In this current world that we're in, journalism is tough to get into. It's tough. I mean, especially from an institutional perspective, most organizations are struggling. What do you tell people today? Do you still advise aspiring journalists to go to college and do the internship thing? Are there other avenues
I think
now?
a lot, I think a lot of the kids need to just, if you follow the formula, I was blessed to follow because of Mark Purdy, gave me the blueprint, gave me the, the road. I just got get as many internships you can in college, man. Like, I had a guy today, he's like, I got my degree in journalism. I'm like, okay, what's your experience? Did you write on the school paper? Well, I didn't. Why didn't you write on the school paper? I wrote on the school paper every 4 years of 5 years of college I had. Every year.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and then I did an internship after my sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. My first internship was the San Jose Metro. I did it for free. There's you got to be able to get out of the box, man. Like, my first job was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, making peanuts. But I was covering the SEC, I was covering Arkansas, and it led to a bigger thing. So you can't just, like, I get so many people talking about, I want to work for ESPN. And it took me, I started my career in 95. I got into ESPN 21 years later.
Right. Right.
You got to be ready to get to ESPN. So, like, put in the work, and the opportunity will come. It's just not going to be, it's not a hand delivered job. Right. Because if for the people where it is hand delivered, at some point, you're going to have to like put your work out there.
Yes, sir.
You can't hide behind anybody. Right. So ultimately, if your work's not up to par on any level, and then it is harder now because you gotta basically be able to be like a 5-tool journalist, right? Like, when I got into the business, it was all about writing, but I had to learn how to do TV, which I didn't learn in school. I had to learn to do radio, which I didn't learn in school. Social media didn't exist, so now I had to learn how to do that.
Dude, the internet didn't exist.
I'm not on TikTok though. I'm not cute enough for TikTok, so I didn't do that. But I'm pretty much on everything else.
Marc, you and I are old enough to remember when there wasn't even an internet. I mean,
I remember at San Jose State going into class one day, and they said, your new email, and I remember they gave me a little piece of paper. It's Marc Spears at sjsu.edu, and I'm like, what is this? It's the internet, and this is your email, and this is this is how you can exchange message via email electronic mail with anybody that has an email too. And I'm like, why not just call them?
Exactly. Right.
I remember saying that in class. Like, why don't I just call them? Right. And that was 93, I think, 94.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Different day now.
Different days, dude. No one's calling anybody now. Now it's just text and
I appreciate a good phone call, man.
Same, man.
I like hearing my friends talk.
I'm totally with you. And I agree with
A
your
lot of stuff you can't read through text, man.
Very true. That is very true.
Especially nowadays.
And I totally agree with your advice for any aspiring journalist. Work on student media. And the student media part's important because an internship, a possibility, they might ask you for like a portfolio, like writing samples. And if you're not doing student media, where are you going to come up with that,
Hey,
right?
Man,
So,
I'll tell people all the time, the Oakland native Malika Andrews and her sister.
Correct.
They busted their tails, man. They were doing a lot of things that a lot of people weren't doing. When I met Malika, she was at the University of Portland running quotes for Associated Press at Blazers games.
Damn. Hustling.
Okay, like hustling. Got in there, figured out a way to get out. She hustled. So, and then any time a door opened, she was ready to climb through it and be a star. And so, the squeaky wheel get the oil, the hard workers ultimately get the opportunities. And so, like, this certainly is a field that's really hard to be given anything.
Absolutely. And Mark, there are so many people in this industry. I've run into them. You see them who thank you, who owe you, because again, you go out of your way to help people, dude.
No, they just got to reach down and help somebody else, man. And
there you go. Pay it forward, right? Paid forward. And
They
Mark, I
don't
know
have
you
to
got
do that for me.
to. There you go. And I know you got to go.
Hey, they
dude.
don't. Hey, but if they want to, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget me when you make it. But you don't know me, but don't forget me. You know what I'm saying?
Mark ain't saying
some
no.
of my old colleagues got some power now, so they want to, to help the OG out. Hey, I'll take
it. He's not rejecting your gifts, people.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Don't get it twisted. I'm not stopping you.
Oh man, Mark, you're doing a phenomenal job with everything. Again, Andscape, part of ESPN. Andscape's blown up for you. Like, promote everything with Andscape because you've got like TV shows, you've got the website.
Yeah.
What's going on with Andscape and promote everything else?
Andscape.com is just a great website about race and culture and sports, and we do a lot of storytelling. So if you like great storytelling, check it out. I got some stuff coming out next week. I think with the young kids say I got some bangers. I got 3 bangers next week, so they're all good stories that I think everybody's going to enjoy reading. So,
you wrote about Jonathan Kuminga. What was your takeaway from that, man? Like, do you have hope for this kid being a star? Like, what's your take?
It just has to be consistent. The talent's there. I don't doubt the talent. I've been watching him since he was playing for the G League Ignite. Just needs to be more consistent, but more fire in his belly, and I think he'll get there. Me too.
Mark, thank you. I mean, you're probably the busiest person working in the NBA. So to take the 20 plus minutes out to join me, I can't thank you enough. Anything else you want to promote?
Man, you got the Kendall Jackson wine out there. You got, Andscape.com out there.
You got good Warriors basketball out there, man. I mean,
man. Clay's coming back next week. So
what do you think's going to happen with this team? Do you think they need to make a deal? Like, again, it's a small sample size.
Yeah, I still think if they could get another alpha dog, that certainly would. It would push them to. I think they're a playoff team now. Adding an alpha makes them a championship contender.
Oh, dude, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Mark, thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Peace, my man.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you, brother. I will see you at a Warriors game soon. And that was Marc Spears, ladies and gentlemen. I can't thank him enough for taking time out to join the program. Mark's just an incredibly gregarious individual, great dude. You probably have no idea how many individuals who work in this industry feel like they owe an endless debt to Mark for the help that he has given them, whether it's through college, whether it's through networking, advice, whatever it is. Mark's just an all-around good dude. So thank you to Marc Spears for joining the program, giving us a little prestige here on Golden Days. And we'll be back at this soon. Have a beautiful day, everybody. And bye-bye. Bye.